Welcome to Canadian Enthusiast. Today is the fourth episode of the show. Today on the show we're going to talk about a very important topic. This topic is all about MG's recovery. The once a British pride, sporty brand with iconic sports cars. The brand once iconic sports cars. The brand is now a more Chinese-owned state manufacturer. But to be really fair about it, I'm not very concerned because everyone these days work with someone in the automotive industry, and to be really fair, MG Rover was part of which I like to call a dirty business deal. Of course, Rover was supposed to be gone with MG into SAIC or the Shanghai Motor Corporation, which didn't happen. They kept the MG brand instead of the Rover brand, which eventually clashed up with the Rover brand, eventually being, let's say, becoming into a confusion. The Rover 75 was built by two manufacturers, Nanjing and SAIC, so confusion. But today it's about MG. Now, since 2005, MG has been under SAIC. The recovery has not been that recovery talk about. They are the MGF, the MGTF, which was good, but that's their older one, very good sports car. But MG had a new direction. They had new line of products like the MGHS, the MGZS, SUVs, and in 2010 especially you had the MG6, which would be a new entry. Now for me, I'm a guy who believes in replacement should be replacing models with adequate or bright segment positioning. Now MG6 was supposed to replace a sports car sort of a lift back policy, which I find amusing because in 2011 the MGTF was discontinued, so they know what a luxury sports car means. But now in 2020, MG has a very good lineup that I like to call a pretty comprehensive lineup indeed. One of them, for my favorite among MGs, is the new MG HS. It's a new compact SUV. It's pretty proportioned, pretty comfortable. Now, let me give some numbers about it, A 1.5 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine and electric motors, of course, hybrid. It's a plug-in hybrid, makes 300 plus horsepower. Now, few years ago, 300 horsepower was a big amount, really. 300 was a big amount, but now 300 can be achieved as plug-in hybrid. But let me remind you again, plug-in hybrid horsepower isn't always accurate. It's true, total output is right, but you mostly end up using the 1.5 turbo engine most of the occasion. So be careful, as I said in the first episode, in the Land Rover episode, in a plug-in hybrid, horsepower is there, but you can only use it one way or another, depends on the mode you are in. You can have them both or you can have them once. Sometimes you might not get the full 300 plus horsepower, so that's the deal. Now, the new MGHS that really excited me about is that few years ago, I'm going to say something that might sound crazy. Then MGHS might be better than a Mitsubishi Outlander. It sounds crazy, but be with me on this, for a certain reason. The Mitsubishi brand, as I said in the few episodes ago, I mentioned about the Mitsubishi brand has declined, as I mentioned. But the MG brand is slowly tapping into these unexpected areas of the market. When brands like Nissan or Toyota becomes high-end and luxury brands, the mid-range consumers gets left behind. Now the opinion is those mid-range consumers often want the same high-end standards as the Japanese companion. But if you can have a 300 horsepower plug-in hybrid compact SUV at a very reasonable price, I argue you buy it anyway. Now I don't guarantee it's going to make a dent in the sales for a RAV4 or a CRV, but they do take care of the middleman who wants high-end comfort but also wants a reasonable price, to be really fair. Now it's not the only MG that is actually making inroads these days. The smaller one, the MG ZS. The ZS is quite a tricky one because if you like it, you like it. If you don't love it. It's a little bit with a model that might entice the eco-mentalists very much. That is the EV model. Yep, there is a full electric MG Z. There are MG ZS. There's an EV. What is not really a surprise about it? I mean, there is no surprise. I mean, everyone loves the EV. Maybe I'm not a fan of electrification. I'm a big fan of EVs. But to be really fair, I'm not a big fan of EVs at all. But many people buy them, so I'm not going to change the opinions about their stance on electrification. Really, I wouldn't change that. But the MGCS is the most affordable way of getting a full electric SUV at the moment. Many might oppose me and say on the Hyundai Kona EV a bit more horsepower, but I'm talking at a far lower price tag here. So that's MG is as EV for you on that regard. But the one thing key to understand is among all of these factors is MG is making very good sales numbers around the world at the moment. And MG has managed to make themselves a name in the UK once more as a British brand. Now, many British enthusiasts might argue it's more of a Chinese product, if not more often, if not it's more Chinese and lesser things to talk about. Really, it's lesser and lesser British. But if you are an MG enthusiast, you should be lucky the brand exists in the first place. It could have died a horrific death as Rover died. But unlike Rover, MG was making money. Let me tell you, every old Rover model was rebadged as an MG. So that means most of the occasion, like a MG V8, sort of a luxury super saloon, was a Rover 75 with a V8. Now, of course, people loved the MG version than the Rover 75 because it was cooler, it was faster, it had a V8. Now, of course, you could have had an MG Rover to have with the V8 model in Rover 75 form as well with the V8 engine. But the key fact to understand is that the MG is at the ZS and the HS are two MGs that lead in the charge. Now, one MG I think they should do, but before that, let me talk about one vehicle that I think it should be I missed about so far. That is the MG GS. Now, the MG GS might sound older compared to SUV. For the MG GS really began the resurgence of MG around the mid-2015 timeline. It had a General Motors tuned 2-liter turbocharged engine making 270 horsepower. There's a 1.5-liter turbo engine as well. The thing about the engine that I'm really excited about the MG GS is that it's often more described by many people as a vehicle for being pretty impressive but not quite MG standard as we know today. But let me tell you, if you follow the Indian Motor Expo, you saw many MG vehicles being rebadged by other Chinese vehicles, like Maxus vehicles are being rebadged as MGs. The most infamous is the MG Extender, which is a mid-size pickup based on a Maxus mid-size pickup, which is pretty much the same except you get MG styling and different tricks on the trade. You can't buy that outside Thailand though, so if you're watching my video from Thailand, you can buy yourself an MG Extender. It's a very good vehicle, but remember, Mr. Thai fans, it's really a Maxus underneath, so it's your choice to make what you think of that. Really, it's your choice. It's totally fine. But at the end of the day, you have to understand MG is on recovery. Recovery is pretty evident. They are selling in good numbers. Sometimes recovery can be judged by the sales numbers or the manufacturer's image. But that is judged by the manufacturer's circumstances. Sometimes the manufacturer might not have a sales problem. Their problem is their brand image. Someone like Toyota in the past, the problem for being a bit boring. Now they are not boring anymore. So MG is making money. They are making cold cash with no doubt. So don't be surprised if MG is making money. That simple as that. Now of course there is a rumor spreading around about a full electric luxury sports car. If that's true, that will be pretty good for MG. If that's true as it sounds, then I would be pretty impressed MG building a sports car. But we're living in a world where sports cars are being chopped off the block for more high volume sellers. So if someone is brave enough to build a new sports car, then yes, MG, please bring the sports car. But please, don't put a Chinese engine in it or Chinese interior parts in it. Make it special a bit. Because we don't want a letdown from MG, because MG is recovering, but its recovery can be destroyed by one bad mistake. Now, before I end this video, there's something else I want to talk about. Now, MG also enters into the world of minivans. They also enter the world of minivans as well. There are Maxus rebadged minivans available in China, and now in India. If you live in India, you pretty much know about it. So, MG is making all sort of vehicles that 30, 50 years ago, no one imagined MG might even build them. So, to be honest, I'm surprised and also impressed, but depends on how good the products are. So, thank you very much joining me. Thank you very much for joining me. Subscribe my video and please put a like. And please put on the comment section what you want me to talk about on the next episode. Thank you very much.